Hey guys, today I'm here to talk about the EVH LBX Lunchbox Amp. Those of you who remember, I talked about it in June of this year when I played the prototype, and now I have it, and since I have the 6505, I thought I'd show it to you guys and A/B it against the 6505 Mini. So the EVH LBX, which is basically short for something like Lunchbox, is kind of like a rock guitar amp for dummies. Kind of like accounting for dummies. It's designed to basically get you there without having to confuse you at all. So let's start with some of the features real fast and make it easy. It has essentially one set of controls and that's it. Okay? It has two channels, but it's crunch and burn. You heard me right. It's not clean and dirty. It's crunch and burn. Basically, it's the second channel off your EVH 50 watt or 100 watt heads and your third channel off those heads. So basically, it takes you into rock territory, into heavy, out of the stratosphere, kind of over the top gain. So you have a gain, a low, mid, high, volume, and presence. And then, of course, there is a bass intensifier knob in the back, just like on the 50 watt head. And then you have 15 watts, and it switches down to a quarter of that, okay? So you can tell it's not loaded with features, to say the least. So the reason why I'm going to demonstrate it in a second, but tell you this stuff first, is because it's very confusing to see why they went that way. So let me show you what the concept was. Right now, we're in the crunch mode, okay? So that is essentially your like kind of rock blues kind of landing. And I will be doing an SM57 mic comparison in just a second with both the amps. I'm just giving you some featurettes right now. So essentially the idea was you take the crunch channel that you can now have on your guitar, and of course you can just roll your volume off and get that clean tone. And if I want to stay on my bridge, I can. And then foot switchable, by the way. It's just a circular Fender style button foot switch, but you hit that and you go right into that heavy stratosphere. So it's off the charts. So the big question of the day is, well, how is it compared to the 6505 Mini? Well, we'll do the sound sample in a second, but realistically, here's something to think about. They are not the same amp. They're not even competing for the same market. I think Peavey went the route of give you the Swiss Army knife. It does everything well. It's got a clean channel that's fantastic, a dirty channel that's really fantastic, reverb, digital reverb, something have, recording effects, multiple power switching, tube tester, you name it, it threw it in there, and then made it about 500 bucks. Now, made in China, which is not a big deal, but it's made in China. The EVH one, which is made in Mexico in Fender's facility, is $700 to $699, so it's about $200 more. And it doesn't have a fraction of those features. It doesn't have as much control over the sounds. It doesn't have a boostable switch for the clean channel. It doesn't have a clean channel. It just doesn't have a lot of features. What it is more of a legitimate, I hate to say this, pro quality amplifier. Now, I'm not degrading the 6505 Mini. In fact, my problem is they're so different than each other, other than, ironically, the sound, that I can't figure out which one I love more. But I can tell you there's something magical about the LBX. Kind of like with the other EVH amps, it does have kind of just this very usable, straightforward sound. So let's give you some sound samples. Okay, so there you have it. The LBX basically is a very alike type product against the 6505 Mini, which is what we expected. They're about the same size, the same weight. They're really interesting because, to me, it's two totally different approaches to get the same job done. Let me give you an example. The 6505 Mini by Peavey wants to throw everything at it, including the kitchen sink, right? Basically 2 channels, a clean with a boost, foot switchable, a dirty channel with reverb digital put in, with a 20 watt, 5 watt, 1 watt mode, and if that's not enough to romance you, don't forget the fact that it also can plug in via USB into your computer and do direct recording, and it basically has a tube tester built into it. I mean, I don't know what else they could have thrown the damn thing, but they basically did it. Now, the LBX by EVH went the exact opposite way. They just stayed focused on giving you the best possible tone, where they don't give you features like reverb added in, or like I said, a computer interface. What they threw at it was more tubes. It has a bigger tube complement of preamp tubes. It also has an effects loop, just like the 6505 Mini, and it basically gives you 2 channels, but doesn't give you anything more than what you need. It's really more of what I hate to say it, a professional series type of amplifier. Now, this is just my honesty coming through, but here's what it is. I think if I was in the bedroom and I wasn't going to use any pedals and I was looking for a great sounding amp, I think the 6505 nails it. I think if I was going to be jamming in a small venue or at a practice, the LBX is what I would bring because it just screams more quality. The biggest thing I can say is this. I don't see Eddie Van Halen signing off on the 6505 Mini. It doesn't, not because it's not good, because, he doesn't seem to want to be involved with anything that he wouldn't use. And this just feels more legitimate quality than the 6505 Mini. Now, that sounds like I'm siding with the LBX. I'm not. I'm just giving you some perspectives. They're both such a good amp, and they, like I said, and I can see where you need to seriously look at them and figure out which one would fit your needs if this is the way you're thinking about going. The biggest thing I want to say is that if you're thinking that the 5153 LBX is basically the mini version of the 50 watt EVH, that's not what the impression I get. It's got more mid sounds. It's not as dark sounding as the 50 watt. I A-B'd it, and I will do a video on that. And it's almost like its own little thing. It's really, to me, reminds me mostly, if I was going to say what it reminds me of, because as you guys watch my videos know, I have pretty much every mini amp out there. It really reminds me of the Soldano Hot Rod 25. Now, I'm not saying it's a copy of that or anything. I'm saying it's got that same vibe. The big thing is, I was looking at this when this was coming out as this is $200 more than this guy. But really, this is $1,800 less than the Hot Rod 25 El Soldano, which I've been wanting for a long time. Just that trigger was just such a big trigger to pull. I think I just found it, to be honest with you, for a fraction of the price. So, I hope this video helps. It's quick, I know, but also because this just came out and it's new. I think it officially releases next week. So I just wanted you guys to see it because I'm excited about it and I hope you are too. Again, as always, thank you for your time and know your gear.